Happy New Year to all of you watching us around the world. I'm Cecilia Omogbe. Welcome to Sport Tonight.
Party greetings to you wherever you are in the world watching us. Yes, wishing you a sporting 2025 in London. I'm Austin Okonakpan.
Austin, it's good to see you in 2025. Yes, and there's a loaded package today, but we'll be dwelling majorly on the events that are taking place this year, especially the crucial one. But I can't wait to see the D Tigress in action in July. Yes, the Afro Basket Women's Championship is this year. So D Tigress, tripit, they did it. So let's see if they can do another one again. And of course, for the men, they will also be trying to qualify for the Afro Basket. Yeah, they haven't qualified yet. No, D Tigress didn't need to play any qualifiers because why? They're defending champions. So basically, they are there in Côte d'Ivoire already. We're just waiting for July 26th for that to kick off. And of course, Super Falcons of Nigeria will also be in action this year. The Women's Nations Cup in Morocco in July. So these are some of the events we are going to be highlighting for you. You just have to follow us, stay tuned to Channels Television, and we'll be bringing you all the updates concerning these events this year. Yes, there's Wimbledon, there's US Open, there's the French Open, there is the FIFA Club World Cup, the expanded version. Yes, that is taking place in the US. The Super Bowl also is in February, and also the NBA All-Stars. There's so much this year to look forward to. There's also the Africa Cup of Nations, the winter version, because it's taking place in Morocco. So it's going to be a cold one for all the players going to Morocco. Yes, the CHAN is also this year. Nigeria already qualified for that. So many tournaments, from tennis to football, to athletics, yes, track and field. The World Athletics Championship is also this year. So, Austin, we may not be having Olympics like we had last year, but the events for this year, they are all fantastic. And of course, we are all looking forward to it.
Cecilia, with everything you talked about, it's a clear testament that it's an action-packed world of sports. I was like, "Whoo, are you ready?" Because so much will be going down, and it's another reflection for sports in Nigeria. Particularly when we go to this event, it exposes some of the problems that we always talk about. So we're glad at the NSC, they have a mandate to build a sports economy, and they've also realized that we should stop being a consumption sporting country, but we should start producing. So with everything you've talked about, it is the production base that will determine the output. So there's so much to look forward to in 2025. And for me, this is a crucial year because Nigeria must come up with a project execution plan for the Los Angeles 2028 Olympics, Cecilia.
Yeah, but let's start with 2025, what we have here. But right here in the studio, Omofade is right here. Dabilola Onifade is here in the studio. Why do I keep calling you Omofade? Yeah, it's great to have you.
It's good to be here. 2025 year, we are looking forward to what should be a very good year for Nigerian sport. Hopefully better than last year. Yeah. Last year wasn't poor, by the way. I hope that came out right. It wasn't poor. Except you are just fixated on football. But in other sports, we have a decent year. Yeah. And hopefully we'll do better this year, particularly recognizing the performance and the contribution of other athletes outside of football to the development of Nigerian sports.
Yeah, which is really crucial because when you're excelling in others, people will definitely want to be more people will be happy. You don't just focus on football. The Nigeria cricket under 19 team, for instance, women, I mean, they qualified without even losing a game for the World Championship. All right, so let's get started with the event for 2025, the ones Nigeria will be participating in. We'll start off with that one, starting off with what we'll start off with CHAN before we go to the D Tigers to see if they can, pick up a sport for it. Yes, we're actually starting off with them, the Afro Basket. It's surprising to know that 2015 champions, they are going to go through the final stage. That final stage is the final window for them to pick a ticket for the Afro Basket Championship later in the year. And this qualifiers will be between 19 to 25 from 19 to 25 years in February. And of course, also in February earlier, we'll be having the African Nations Championship where Eagles Team B beating Ghana 3-1. I think that was one of my happiest moments. Anytime we beat Ghana, we're always very happy because of the rivalry the Ghanaians are trying to bring in to football. Yes, it's holding from 1st to 28th. Of course, it's being hosted by 3 nations. It's Uganda, there's Tanzania, of course, there's Kenya. So Nigeria are already in that. So by February, of course, the Super Eagles Team B will be participating. We're just hoping and praying that the goal scorers are not, leaving before that happens. The transfer windows open this January. Albanian clubs are calling, and some players might just go. But I just hope they can wait and sit it out and see what's going to happen right there. Well, let's start off with this one. The D Tigers. D Tigers' problem isn't the players.
No, definitely
it's administrative.
It's definitely not.
So
not
let's leave football. We know that, yes, everything is ready. With the money flying in and everything, that's how they qualified. Come on, we know that these guys, that will be a problem. That will be a problem. But this is where problem will be. I mean, January 2nd, it's going to be on the 19th of next month. We're already almost there. So we're going to wait till the final moment before they will cry out, no money to travel. Remember what happened in the last week?
You just mentioned what the issues are. I mean, when was the last time we had the last round of qualifiers and we're very poor in that qualifiers?
Yeah, we were poor. Because we arrived hours to our first game.
A lot of things will be determined by what have we done between that time and now.
Nothing.
And if we're starting to do now, it's already late. But maybe we can still manage it. It's already late. And we had this conversation before we came on here, and you know my position already. I honestly do not want to start off with a very negative outlook, but I'm scared. I have my worries. I don't think we've done enough between the last time and now.
We haven't done anything.
So I have my worries. I just hope that the individual brilliance of the players and something that we know very well to do are prayers. We'll be able to carry us.
Do you think that's the work? Austin, I mean, the individual brilliance, the Nigerian spirit we keep talking about, I mean, people are catching on. So it's really not working as we think because, I mean, in terms of technology, everything is coming to play when it comes to sports. People are using, science, technology, anything you can think of to actually, how do I put it, boost the chances of their players and their countries when it comes to competition. We're not even trying at all. Chances of, these guys who have been wonderful over the years, but, their problem is always administrative.
That's what it is, and I've been the one talking about the leadership of basketball in Nigeria and how it must come to the realization that if they do not have a purpose of unity, if they do not speak with one voice, if they don't understand their objectives, it will continue to struggle. And sincerely, Engineer Musa Kida means well for basketball in Nigeria because I spoke with him. I had a very lengthy conversation with him at the Olympics in Paris. But he must find a way to bring the other guys into the mix. If everybody doesn't want to go with what you're doing, try as much as possible to have more numbers on your side than those against you, and then work with that number. And people will be quick to say, oh, we're doing so well with the D Tigress. I said, wait, how many did you produce locally? What did you put in place for what we are seeing with the D Tigress? With everything good that they did at the Olympics in Paris, Cecilia, what was the first news we heard after the Olympics? That assistant coach was not paid. That's not how to sustain a momentum from a fantastic outing you had in the Olympics in Paris. It's a leadership problem because everything rises and falls on leadership. You've talked about technology, we're far. And look, I've noticed one thing. That it is going well for the D Tigress does not automatically mean that basketball in Nigeria is doing well. I always tell people that because Super Eagles plays well does not mean our football too is also fine. So basketball must go back. We saw quality in the under-19s, remember?
Yes.
We also see quality in the under-17s. Mm-hmm. That's the production hub. We go and find out what they did right at that level. If it's only talent, take talent, and then start working on other things. Welfare. You mentioned technology. Bring that in. Infrastructure. Players' welfare. Nurturing. Development. Everything will now come and meet talent in the middle. Because talent alone make those players stars. But when you put these other things together, Cecilia, you know the rest. They become superstars.
Superstar, that's what it is. All right, let's move to football, right? Football now, talking about the FIFA World Cup. Now, this is where the problem is because right now, Nigeria is actually in danger of not qualifying. All they need to do, all these games we've listed, They just have to win them. And then that's it. They'll qualify for World Cup. Let's start off with March. In March, they will be up against Rwanda, and that's March at 17. That's the first game they will be playing. And of course, Zimbabwe also in March on the 24th, and against Rwanda September 1st. Against South Africa, that will be also in September, well, on the 8th. Lesotho is in October. And of course, the game against Benin Republic, that's the last one, also in October. That's October 13th. So you have March 2 games, September 2 games, and October also 2 games. That's before the Nations Cup. Now, these games, it's what the Super Eagles of Nigeria needs to win. Now, there's been the talk of the fact that we don't have a coach because Austin Egwabani is still, acting on behalf of the team. He's a technical director of Nigerian Football Federation. He doesn't have a choice. He has to take out the Super Eagles for now until they get, a coach, or maybe they can just tell him, okay, you know what, leave your position and just head these boys for now. But we're still waiting for that. But these are the games the Super Eagles need to win. And we know that once they're able to clear these games, World Cup tickets is in the bag. Easy.
Easy, right?
Easy peasy.
And we are where we are. I think the first thing is what you said. Again, that's not administration, not the players. It's to first decide, do we want Austin Egwabani to be in charge of this team, and just make that decision as soon as possible.
Yes.
And if you want a different coach, make that decision as soon as possible. I think before 31st of January, we should have a coach. If we have any seriousness to these games. But I don't even want to go as far as you went by saying that we should win this 6 game. I said win the 2 in March first, then we start planning for October.
No, we have to win the 6.
No, I agree. But first, win the 2 in March.
Okay, start with that. Okay.
Start with that. We have 2 games in March. First, win those ones.
Yeah.
Let's get our hearts together now. Prepare to win those 2. I mean, these are winnable games. We're going to Rwanda, we're going to Zimbabwe. With all due respect to those 2 nations. I mean, when you just look at the kind of players we have at this moment, I believe that since '94, with that team leading us to the 2000 AFCON, I think this is the best collection we've had in a long time. And these are winnable games. So just get our hearts together in terms of administration, in terms of preparation. Win the 2 games in March, then we plan for September. After September, we can start looking at October. But I'm not going to start looking at October. This is just January 2nd. Let's work at those 2 games, and then we can move from there.
Austin, yeah.
Which of those games are winnable games? Rwanda, on paper, with the bookmakers and pundits, Rwanda has the advantage to win that game in Kigali because they won the last game against Nigeria. And they did it so well because they broke Nigeria down tactically. Whether the Super Eagles underrated them or were complacent or not, on paper, Rwanda conceded, boom, boom, 2 quick fire goals. It ended 2-1 right there in Nigeria's home ground. So it's hard to come out and say it's their winnable game. I don't look at names anymore. This same team struggled to beat Lesotho. This same team couldn't beat Zimbabwe. This same team couldn't beat Rwanda. So whatever they want to turn around, I totally agree with what Wilfred Ndidi said the other day, that it's a collective and individual assignment. First thing first. In fact, let me use scriptures. It said, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Super Eagles, individual players, tell yourselves, before the Super Eagles come, me, as Austin Okonakpan play for the Super Eagles, do I want to go to the World Cup? What can I contribute? Because Damilola, what will happen is, even if 5 players come there with the same mindset and you have just 2 players, this is a team sport. It will ruin everything. And that's what we have seen with these Super Eagles. It just takes 2 persons not to show up and they start struggling. We have seen it over and over again. So they all need to come tell themselves, look, let's not bother about what is happening with the other guys and their results. We just have 6 games we have to win. And these 6 games, we have to win them so that the fans will say, okay, they tried. Let's leave them. Football didn't just favor them because they didn't start good. Aside that, maybe after they play Rwanda and then play Zimbabwe, Damilola, you and I will come here and say we've closed shop.
It's not going to happen. Austin, just take a look at the superstars. I mean, let's start with Victor Osimhen, number 1. I mean, Victor Boniface, Demola Lookman. I mean, name them. Samuel Chukwueze is okay. He's injured right now. Before match, he should be, fit and ready to play. I mean, where do we start? We have the stars, and I know we can actually do this. Just win these games. World Cup ticket, we have to go to the US. I mean, first time we're having a World Cup that is hosted by across 3 continents. We have to be there. All right. Let's leave them and quickly talk about another one, the National Sports Festival. Now, it's always being postponed, but we have a date now, and I hope and pray this will hold. But before the National Sports Festival, we have the Under 20 Africa Cup of Nations in April, from April 26 to May 18, 2025. Under 20. I mean, this is what we want to win. But it's been a long time. Egypt, Morocco, Senegal, what are they doing differently that we can't really do? We've got the talent, we've got the players, structure. But then, can we, get this? Let's not talk about structure, but just...
They are getting their heads together. That's what they are doing differently.
They are putting their heads
different what we're doing.
Which we are not.
It's like you said, I agree with Austin to some extent that the game for the Super Eagles, same for these, are no longer about names. But I always still insist that if we can do the right things, if we can just beyond words, and everything is not just about money, it's about what are we going to do differently from the last time, and understand that if it's a team, all of us must be on the same page. I think for the Under 20 AFCON, I would see how we lead up to April before I can make a prediction. But it's also a tournament that we should be serious about.
Yes.
We've been struggling recently, particularly with age grade football. We're struggling badly. We're not even going to play at the Under 17.
When was last time we played Under 17 at the World Cup?
Under 17 at the World Cup. So we've been struggling badly, and we can only start re-engineering that phase of our football with this particular tournament. Hopefully we will get it right.
I love that word, re-engineering. So Austin, let's go to the National Sports Festival. This will be in May. I mean, we're hoping this will hold. After seeing, we saw the facilities. After seeing that, we know that, yes, it's going to take a miracle. It's going to take a lot of money for them to put into that stadium and get it ready if it's ready by March, then we can talk about National Sports Festival. If we're still seeing something like this in March, we know that we just have only April in between before May.
They will shock you, Cecilia, because we saw this sort of structures, when Delta hosted, and we thought it wasn't going to happen, and then it actually did happen, So we create this sort of magic. How we do it, I still don't understand. Yeah. But that shouldn't be so. First thing first, I like the fact that they were realistic, that it will not hold. And now it's going to hold in May. Now, I understand the cynicisms that we have. And that's because, pictures don't lie. We can see it, that we're not ready. And if we are to host the National Sports Festival in May, by February, we should be inspecting facilities, Cecilia. We should be saying, the swimming pool, it wasn't really to international standards. So we're going to, make adjustments. The tartan track, we after doing our quality assurance checks, we saw this, we saw that. We will fix it. You should be using that period to clean up, not this. You get what I'm saying? So hopefully we're going to have it in May. I pray we'll have it in May, though it has there's a lot of disruption first with this shift. And we all know because of the athletic season and everything. But this is us. Let's just do it. No. We have to do it the right way, We have to do it according to standards. We have to do it with proper planning. We have to do it in the way that will be beneficial to sports development in Nigeria. We have to do it in the way that shows that we're serious with this sports economy mandate given to the National Sports Commission by the president. So let's keep the hope. This is just January the 2nd. Yes. We have made, to have this happen. And the NSC can help us, give us regular updates. Whenever your developers go to sites, if there's progress, tell the media. Let's tell people so that we can, progress. Yeah.
All right. That's what we're hoping. All right. We'll come to Lagos. I mean, the WTT, that's the World Table Tennis Contenders, will be in Lagos this year from July 21st to July 27th. And it's going to be in between when the Africa Women's Cup of Nations is going on. But Lagos is hosting this, Dami. I mean, this is a great event that we're all looking forward to. Bring the superstars right here across the world for our stars to actually compete against them.
Fantastic. And it has a bigger implication even beyond sports. There is a tourism implication, there is the economy around the environment around sport that will also be energized. And it's good that at least there are sports that we can still host the event. Because of the state of our facilities.
Yes.
I mean, the only reason why we are struggling with the sport festival is because of facilities, not necessarily because we don't have athletes to compete.
Yeah.
And so it's good that we at least we can still host
maintained that,
events like these. And all thanks to the Lagos State government, because I mean that's probably the only one that again we have in Lagos that can host events like that. So it's kudos to the federation, is kudos to the state government for keeping that facility in good shape. And hopefully Nigerian tennis players will also be able to prove themselves at the global level.
They should take it to Agege Stadium and make it better. And testing Balogun Stadium. We're still waiting for those to be ready for stars to compete there. Now, the Women's Africa Cup of Nations, July 5th to 26th. I was looking at this date and I was looking at Euros. I'm like, okay, yeah, we'll be watching Euros and Women's Africa Cup of Nations together. That's how it's going to be here, because Morocco, that's the time they faced. I mean, it's been going on every 2 years, November, December, until Morocco happens. And when they happened, the last one they hosted was in summertime, July, just as this time. And then they mixed it last year. It was in the calendar. So teams that qualified over a year ago. So they will be playing, at least finally they are playing. I'll say at least they are playing. That's what is important. So the Super Falcons of Nigeria will try to see if they can undo what they did in Morocco the last time, finishing fourth. Yes, fourth under Randy Wardrum.
I know, Cecilia, and it's part of what I have on my bucket list as regards expectations for sports in Nigeria in 2025. I said the Super Falcons must take their rightful leadership position in Africa. We want to forget what happened the last time in Morocco. It was embarrassing that Zambia finished ahead of Nigeria. Yes, kudos to Zambia and everything that they've been doing, but this is the Super Falcons, Africa's most talented women's football team. I don't want to even go into the achievements and the laurels that this team have achieved. So it tells you that something is wrong now, and it goes back to leadership, because there were a little bit of leadership issues here and there, administrative issues, logistics. Remember, Cecilia, what I always said about if you do the right thing, you've already ticked 70% of your victory before you get into the pitch. Those are the things we have to start doing before July comes. Because this Super Falcons team, they have what it takes to rule Africa again. And I'm super confident that if they get the sort of support, the right investment, attention, they will go to Morocco and win the Africa Cup of Nations again.
That's what we're expecting. Now let's quickly move to athletics. The World Athletics Championship is also taking place this year. Remember how Tobiloba Amusu actually ruled the whole world, and everyone understood that yes, we have athletes who are fast when it comes to hurdles. Well, then that's what's going to be happening in September, and that will be in Tokyo, in Japan, from September 13th to 31st. So Nigerian stars, the superstars, they'll all be in Tokyo for that. We don't want to have a repeat of what happened at the Olympics. Yeah, but I believe they've learned their lessons. Oh, I don't know, that report that was submitted as a former sports minister, I think we need to ask questions. What happened to that report? Well, we have the athletes competing in Tokyo in September. What are you expecting? I mean, what can they do, to be ready in September?
This is the one where I want to look a bit beyond administration. I think most Nigerian athletes have an opportunity to redeem themselves come September. I'm not saying we got administration perfect at the last Olympics, but the athletes must ask themselves some very strong questions if they actually did justice to themselves. Like Austin was saying. Opheli's case was even those ones are administration, basically. Okay. But I'm saying for Itobi Amuson, she had I don't see the reason. Maybe she had not told us why she couldn't even get to the final. We struggled badly at that Olympics.
Yeah, it happens.
It does happen. It does happen. And that's why I'm saying this is the opportunity for them to redeem themselves so that you don't just look like a 1 year, 2 year wonder that couldn't sustain it. Because success sometimes must be repeated for you to actually lay a claim to be one of the global stars in the sport. So I think that's the opportunity that most of these athletes must show come September at Tokyo. It's an opportunity that if I'm in their shoes, I'll be looking forward to September very fast so that I can prove that I still got what it takes to compete at that level.
All right, so the last event for this year for Nigeria will be the Africa Cup of Nations, which is in December. Austin, you have to take this one. That's before we go to the Super Bowl and the like. But the Africa Cup of Nations, that will be December 21st to January 18th. Okay, it's across the year. But it starts in December, when it's really cold. Really, a woman understands what I'm talking about because it was in Morocco for Chan. how many jackets was he wearing? Like 6 or 7. Really can't remember. But it was really, really cold at that time. But luckily, most of the players, they play in Europe, so they understand the weather. Austin, Nations Cup, Africa Cup of Nations. Because of the final, losing to host nation Côte d'Ivoire via penalty.
Yes.
What? This one, nice. Yeah, you should have confidence in the Super Eagles, okay?
I try, Cecilia, and in one of
Not enough.
in one of the interviews I did, I described it, even on this show, as a topsy-turvy experience for football in Nigeria because it's just all over the place. You get to the final of the AFCON, you come back and you start struggling to qualify for the World Cup. I'm like, what's going on? This is the same team that played, that got to the final of the AFCON. Don't tell me about tactics here. These are the same guys, it's the same winning mentality, it's the same fight, the same drive. So what's going on? So with the AFCON in Morocco, I think they also have a point to prove again. You have a point to prove because this is the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Off my head, I can start calling players of quality. Players that if they do not file out, their clubs will have hands on their cheek. Look at Leicester City, crying every day because of Wilfred Ndidi's injury. They can't even win games. Try and imagine Atalanta playing a game without Ademola Lookman. What is Galatasaray without Victor Osimhen at the moment? Clubs in Europe are still thinking about him. Ola Aina commands a proper starting shirt in Nottingham Forest and the team is doing so well. In fact, Manchester City, they want him so bad now. Top players everywhere. So why should we go to the AFCON and struggle? I can understand Côte d'Ivoire. I speak to some of these players and they're always telling me, Austin, the pitch. The ball behavior is not the same. I'm hopeful I'm not going to hear that in Morocco because they have top-notch football playing pitches. And you just talked about the weather. It's close to what we have here in Europe. So they will go there and play us good football, hopefully express themselves properly. Hopefully the Nigerian Football Federation will do their part. We will not be having shenanigans that will cause distractions. You would have properly installed a coach that we know that, yes, we take ownership of this team and build it the way he wants. All of those things will come together, Cecilia and Damilola, to give us a sort of AFCON that will get us talking in Morocco. If we don't do these things, the same old same, my people.
I mean, rap Nations Cup for us, Austin, the confidence is coming back a bit, right? But he's still not really, banking on those boys. But I have a suggestion. What if we just have, I know we have the China Eagles. What if we have home-based players also? Super Eagles, another team of Super Eagles. You have 2. So when you have, some big boys actually misbehaving, coming late to camp, you can say, okay, you know what, sit on the bench. Let me try this guy. Especially when you are playing your friendlies, build up to it.
What you just said should be the ideal. I mean, there's a reason why the Chan Eagles is called Super Eagles Team B. But it's an attitude thing. We don't trust them enough that they can compete at that level. And I don't know why we put so much effort into making our league better that we don't trust the products of the league to represent us at the highest level. So it's an attitude thing. It's a mindset thing. If we can get that right, then it will be what you're saying. But more importantly for me, the chances of whether the Super Falcons or the Super Eagles has to do with what the administrators are going to do, the NFF must make up their mind. We're talking about the Super Eagles. Even the Falcons also have an interim coach. The difference is that because they are doing well, in terms of, the games they've played under the interim coach, we are not paying so much attention. But the truth is, the 2 senior national teams, Nigerian football national teams, don't have a substantive coach. And that's quite funny.
Yeah, it is. Okay, fingers crossed. Right? Let's see what's going to happen in December. We still have time to plan for that. Yeah, these are the events, the events we just mentioned that Nigeria will be taking part in 2025. Of course, don't forget, AfroBasket is also part of it. The Tigers, of course, you know how good they can be. But hey, administratively, we have to do the right thing and support these ladies for them to continue to shine. Now, let's go, all the sporting events that will be happening in 2025. Starting up with the Australian Open. Yes, Novak Djokovic said he will want to play for more years. I'm like, how old are you? But we don't know if this is going to be the last but he's going to play for next year, for more. So definitely that will be his last. But Australian Open, the expectations are high. The stars are there. Sabalenka, Swiatek, these 2 ladies up, and then you have number 1 and number 2. It kept happening. For the men, you have... when you have Zverev, sometimes you feel okay. Yeah, he gets Tsitsipas and some other stars. But Australian Open, There's some stars we need to look forward to. I mean, the next gen guys are actually taking it up. Djokovic did not win a Grand Slam in 2024.
And you believe that it's difficult to talk about, the proper Grand Slam calendar, and Djokovic is not in any of them, tells you that it's a cycle.
He won the Olympics.
There you go. I mean, and that was really important because
for him,
you need to tick that off. Tells you that in life you can't win all the time. You need to pick, what you really want and push it to win. But it would have been good to put Djokovic in that conversation because he worked so hard, and he did show it in 2024. He's still part of those I'm looking forward to in Melbourne. And remember, they love him in Melbourne. That's actually, so let's see if he can get us talking, when the Australian Open begins. But then the underdogs seem to, be telling us that, look, it's time for people to talk about us. I've been looking at Yelena Ostapenko, and the way, she's going with her tennis now and everything. You could tell that, yes, they really want us to talk about them. Some of those almost did it guys need to also step up. Tsitsipas is one of them, What can he do this time around? I think he's also a decent player. I used to be a big fan of Alexander Zverev. I thought, this guy can probably, get us talking and get into that big four conversation. Maybe 2025 might just be the year where they'll get us talking.
Let's see if Stefanos Tsitsipas. I think that's the guy that's really just refused to grow. Because we've seen Alexander Zverev, he's making waves. Well, Tsitsipas seems to stay where he is. Expectations for Australian Open?
My expectation is the rivalry between Sinner and what's the other Spanish guy?
Carlos Alcaraz.
Alcaraz. That's my expectation. I think for me, we started seeing the beginning of the end of Djokovic, whether he likes it or not. Sometimes your brain wants to do something, but your body is just not cooperating. And it's actually the first tennis year that we're going to have without those big four. We only have one of them.
I'm so happy.
In a long time. Why are you happy?
Do you know how long? In tennis, if you ask anybody, they just know Rafael Nadal.
Yeah, of course, they just
or Roger Federer.
So they dominated
Murray.
for so long.
Yeah.
They dominated for. But the positive side is also that they made the sport a bit more popular with the neutrals. Because they were there for so long.
For so long, yeah.
They never had that consistency in a long while. So I'm more interested in the competition of the younger guys, Sinner and Alcaraz. Djokovic, yes. I think he will have good tournament here and there, but I'm not looking forward to winning this Australian Open.
Whatever he's doing in Brisbane, that will tell, right? To see if he's gonna,
It will tell in terms of how far he will go, but I don't expect him to win.
Because he just took out Gam on face just earlier today.
I'll be shocked if he wins.
We'll see. Super Bowl, yes, New Orleans, that's what it's been hosting, but something happened in New Orleans last night that people really were not happy about. 13 people dying. Okay, we'll focus on that. But New Orleans will be hosting the Super Bowl this year. So all the expectations with the billions and the viewers and everybody watching it, that's another event to look forward to. You want to chip in on it, on Super Bowl?
Well, one of the most glamorous sporting events, one of the most financially rewarding,
it's on my
one of the most popular. We enjoy it for the funfair that comes with it. And it just tells you what sports can do in terms of total contribution and drawing people in and just having the excitement of participating or being part of a sport. And you look forward to it every year. For me, it's like the Oscars of sports. For me,
Oh, okay.
It has that glamour.
Yeah, there's the All-Star game here for 2025 in San Francisco, Maine, Bay Area. That's another one. February 16th. February is definitely busy. You have the All-Star, you have the Super Bowl all happening in the same month. Austin, I know people have been talking about the Super Bowl. All-Star becoming more like exhibition because the players just stay wherever you are and throw the trees, and that's defense. The defense is so porous that you can have as high as 158 scoreline. The scoreline can sometimes be ridiculous, and you have one player shooting as many threes as they can, but it's becoming more like exhibition. The competitive edge we used to see, I don't know if it's going away. Or maybe players just want to. I don't know. I didn't enjoy the All-Star game last year anyway.
Cecilia, when stars come together, everywhere we lit up. That's what you see with the All-Stars. So because they do it with ease, because they come out there and you see 100% quality. So you think, they don't know. They're not giving it that push that we need to see. It's an All-Star game. These guys can't break a sweat to do those moves that you see. And it tells you how much has gone into the NBA. Because even the NBA now, they struggle to even put together that all-star team.
Okay.
Because even the guys that don't get to make it into the team, they can actually still produce those sort of moves, So I look forward to it. It just so much revenue for the NBA. And it tells you just what Damilola said, that sports is not, it's not Nigeria. Stop looking at it like leisure. This is serious business.
It's bigger than what you think.
In 2025.
Big business, okay. The Grand Slam track, a big event in athletics. When it comes to athletics, it's something coming up in the US. So we just missed out on that. That's also happening this year. Is the maiden edition where athletes are going to get so much money. Yes, there's so much money in it because all the tech guys are putting money together for that track event taking place in the US. So after that, then that's where you have, of course, the Diamond League, so much money also coming in. So for those athletes competing, we hope our athletes will definitely shine on that stage. Of course, the FA Cup is May 17th. That is going to happen this year also. The clubs that are struggling to make it up, maybe qualify for Champions League, like Manchester City, Manchester United, they have a chance, leeway to actually get into Europe. Of course, there you have it, the big one, the UEFA Champions League also coming up May 21st, and then you have the Roland Garros, which is the French Open, May 25th to June 8th, the home of Rafael Nadal. He is retired now. We'll be looking forward to another superstar that can dominate that. If Carlos Alcaraz is going to be taking over from his retired Spaniard, who knows what's going to happen in Roland Garros this year. So you have other sporting events. We'll just speed up on this one. How a different outlook of what we're expecting at Roland Garros. The UEFA Champions League, of course, 31st of May. 31st of May. That's when it's happening. You know, was Europa League earlier. You also have the FIFA Club World Cup. Yes, this one. How many clubs? 48. Austin, this is the big one we are looking forward to. FIFA decided to put all the clubs across all the continents. Different clubs are competing in this one. FIFA Club World Cup from June 15th to July 13th. That's when it's taking place in the US. This is more like a showpiece for the expanded World Cup. You also have many teams competing. Is that what you think?
It's beyond that. Remember on the show I told you that it's also FIFA telling football organizations, members, bodies, clubs that, look, there's so much money in this game. There's so much business to be done. And that's why when they use the word expansion, I laugh. No, it's because they have seen more ways to make money, and that's what we're seeing with the Club World Cup. In fact, I told you that clubs in England were pissed off that why is it just 2 clubs from England that will be going into the Club World Cup? This is just the Club World Cup. Cecilia and Damilola, remember 2-3 years ago, we just wait for the finals to see who's going to play finals. You know that a big team is there. Definitely, probably the team that won the UEFA Champions League will win it. But now, with the way FIFA, they've come around with the turnaround and the expansion, it's going to be a competition now that people might be thinking, oh, is even the UEFA Champions League that is happening? There's so much money to go round, and that's what FIFA is doing, Cecilia. And it's going to make it competitive. And now you'll see, clubs will not be complaining. Players might come out to say, oh, there's so much games for us to play. The club will say, we are paying you $350,000 pounds every week. And you're saying there's so much games to be played. Go and play. Let's make money.
Okay.
And everybody
make money, and after that's why you have so many injuries, and the clubs actually struggling because of injuries happening to their players. Fingers crossed, see how that pans out. We have other competitions for the year. The Euro is also taking place this year from July 2nd to 27th in Switzerland, and you have the Wimbledon from June 30th to July 13th. That's Wimbledon. That's when it's taking place. Of course, you have other competitions for the year. The FIFA Under 17 World Cup is also happening this year for men and women. You also have the US Open before that in August to September 7th. And of course, in November, this is where you have another competition, which is the Under 17 Championship. The World Cup, Morocco is hosting that of the women. Of course, for the men, Qatar will be hosting. I think that wraps up the year for other events happening across the world. But for Under 17, we mentioned it earlier that, how do we put it now? The fact that
you've been struggling.
Nigeria is yes, I get that. What are we going to do to have a fresh Under 17? Just your perspective before we leave this one.
Let's just go back to the basis. The basis it became a bit quite embarrassing for me the moment we start depending on foreign-based under-17 players. I think that I think that just captures my thought. I think we need to go back to the basis. We need to look at our the pool where we produce young stars for our football. If we can get that right, the talent is still there. But the administrators and our coaches have to be ready to do the job and not be lazy. Going foreign to look for foreign-born players to play under 17 is quite embarrassing for me, and I think that's one of the things we need to fix.
Fixing it, and we will fix it on the 17 grassroots. It is important. Austin, before we go, have to talk about Anthony Joshua. He's been in Nigeria, visiting all the governors. He was in Ogun State. He was with the president at his residence in Lagos, and of course, he also visited the Lagos State governor. He's been doing that, and of course, he also had some things to say. After visiting, of course, you have to talk to the press and you share ideas. He's got his own New Year resolution, and his New Year resolution is actually great. He wants to become, 3-time world champion, and also having to fight Tyson Fury. I'm like, why not Usyk? Why Tyson Fury? Okay, Bob. Okay, Austin, maybe we need to listen to him, and we'll come back. We'll just wrap this up.
The energy is 10-10. Obviously, we're here in December, so it's a big celebration for the Christmas and New Year period. But in general, the energy in Nigeria is good. I got to meet His Excellency. They do an amazing job at hosting me and my family today. We get to see how the country's organized and run, and they have big plans for the future. Hunger makes me more hungry. It makes me want to work harder, because time is of the essence. Time is limited, so I just want to put in more work. 2024, when I look back, I believe I could have done more. And now I have another chance in 2025 to do more. I'm going to make sure that I take every opportunity that comes my way. I should have won, but I didn't. And I'm going to go again. Ups and downs, they happen. Some people is always up. My life is up and down. So I've got to get used to it.
There's Anthony Joshua talking about, what he intends to achieve this year. 3-time world champion, facing Tyson Fury. And also talking to, he mentioned something about Nigerians in diaspora can actually come home. It's actually good to celebrate Christmas, the holidays, near home, where you're from.
I think it's beautiful. Particularly this year, many of us were not even expecting that it would come. He just came and just showed up. And I think it's good. But in terms of his expectation for 2025, I will think that he should play down on the talk of being a 3-time world champion. It will come, it will happen. What is important right now is there is a need to redeem himself as one of the top dog of the heavyweight. Another loss on his record in his next fight, it would definitely promote so badly for him in terms of his position in that ranking. So I think he should focus more on winning his next bout, wherever it is. I think that's what is important.
Interesting. Austin Anthony Joshua in Nigeria.
Yeah, I like it, Cecilia. I love AJ. I will never forget the first time I met him at the Rio 2016 Olympics. I had my Nigerian muffler on me, and AJ called me out. He screamed, "Niger boy." I saw him again in London when he was getting ready to fight Eric Molina, and he called me. He said, "Hi, Austin, you are late," when I went into the press conference. So he loves Nigeria, and he's associating with us. I've got people call me to say, "Austin, this guy is in Nigeria now. We're welcoming him." But he did not hail Nigeria when he knocked out Francis Ngannou, March 8, 2024. I said, calm down. A lot of things were going on then, but it's important that he's giving us this association. He loves the country, and he's pushing, doing his own bits to see how he can, be a role model to young people coming up in Nigeria who want to go into boxing. So I love it. He has met with the leadership of the country. Anthony Joshua, when you come back to England, we will take British Nigerian heavyweight boxer. Always tell them to put Nigeria. I've been teaching a lot of them here, like Moses Itauma. Yeah. Moses Itauma is tipped to be the next big thing in heavyweight boxing. All I hear is British boxer. No, his father is from Akwa Ibom, South Nigeria. His mother is Slovakian. The guy is Nigerian. That's a good way to leave the show. For my good people, Nigeria. Good people, great nation. Yeah. That's the show in London. I'm Austin Okonakwan. In everything you do, remember, keep talking sports. Bye for now.
Damilola Nifade, it was nice doing this with you.
Yeah, pleasure being here. We hope for a better 2025.
Yes, a better 2025 in sport. That's what we're hoping and praying for. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Cecilia Omogbe. We'll leave you with highlights coming from Brisbane International. Good night.